just to stir up this, I'm trying to stir up within you a craving for the answer. That's why I'm trying to drag this out a little bit. Okay, David is the only one who's ever had time or heart to even look at the Torah. Everybody else is busy farming and fighting. Everybody else says, oh, we don't want to do what Yahweh says, and oh, the giants are too big. And David finally, who is he that finally he sits there and says, there's something else going on. I need to study these statutes. What's there to study? Don't boil a calf in its mother's milk. What's there to study? Don't steal. What do you mean study the statutes? To study the statutes, you have to have them written down in words, and you have to sit there in front of you. Nobody else was even literate. Nobody else has even had a copy of these statutes. Before Moshe, Abraham taught certain standards to his children, but they didn't necessarily have them written down to study. This thing David's talking about has never been done before. Now, I'm making up this story, but from what I can tell, there's no record of anybody ever doing this. David now completely brings this whole new science onto the face of the earth, taking the Torah and reading the words. The Levites were instructed once every 7 years when the people gather, speak to them and explain maybe the whole Torah, but maybe just Deuteronomy. They're not studying these words. They don't have a copy of the Torah. Then, as we said yesterday, the Catholics made it illegal, and people were their eyes plucked out, and they were killed for even touching the book to look at it. They had it chained to the pulpit, and nobody was allowed to look at it. So this incredible privilege that we have to have this thing in our hands where we're looking at Hebrew words only happened in the past couple hundred years, you might say, right? Because not only did we not have it in English until 1600s, it's not only been until 10 years ago that I even had Hebrew? Should I look at Hebrew? But the forefathers of America were deciding, should the popular language be Hebrew or German or English? I know it boiled down to those three, and they chose English. But what I'm saying is that this thing that David is talking about doing is very rare. Okay. What in here? Then I will not be ashamed when I gaze. Okay. I should gaze at the commandments. I should look. I should analyze. Where's the mystery? What was his eyes open to other than the fact that he should study these words?
The impression I get from this psalm is that we all go through the pattern where we've all gone through. Okay? Ignorance, learning, rebelling, sinning, repenting, being forgiven, coming to the awareness that at a minimum we have to keep his statutes. Okay? And I see all of that in that song.
But this is gazing at...
I understand.
It's
and
not...
that's why I'm saying this 27th point, it's like Yah turned it on for David and nobody else. Because somehow he came to a point of understanding of his own volition. All the things that we're doing here, but he came to a point of understanding, and maybe it was because he was intended to be that person from the beginning, okay?
That Yahweh formed him and birthed him to be the first man on the face of the earth who would have an aptitude of craving.
Yeah.
His palate would go, man, I need to taste something. And Yahweh said, that's right, I gave you this hunger. So you go, and you'd now bring this notion to the world. That possibly is so, but that means David's job description is not just king of Israel or shepherd of the flock, but but David's job description was actually read my words and explain them to the world so that the people would have a taste for them.
Yes.
Okay, but why didn't he tell us that then? Why is it
so diffuse?
Is it?
Well,
okay, now listen.
To my meager mind, it is.
Do you read Hebrew?
Not very well.
Do you have a Hebrew Tanakh?
No.
So you've only read Psalms 119 in English.
Basically. I mean, I looked at Hebrew roots with my...
Okay, no, I'm trying to establish something. So here you're trying to analyze Psalm 119, and I'm suggesting that when David said, open my eyes, that David did get an answer and he hid it somewhere, but you're reading it in English, which came out of Greek. And so now whatever David hid, if he hid it in Hebrew, you can't see it no matter how hard you try.
It's hidden two layers deep.
Okay, have you read this in Hebrew?
No.
Yeah, with the paper that you printed, trying to play with them.
Okay.
What the heck? No,
Okay, let me read to you in Hebrew the first sentence. Ashri Tamim. Okay, that Tom is perfect, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ashri Tamim Derek. Okay, now Derek is the way,
Yeah, exactly.
and Tamim is perfect, but the first word is Ashri. Guess what? That starts with an aleph.
Right.
Now the second verse starts off with Ashri. Hey, guess what? That starts with an aleph too. The third verse, Af Lo Palo. Wait a minute, that starts with an aleph too. The fourth verse, Ata Zoita. Wait a minute, Ata, that starts with an aleph. Wait a minute. Every one of these 8 verses starts with a word that starts with an aleph.
Right.
And then you look at the next section, there's 8 verses, the first word, the first letter of the word is a bet. And then there's 8 verses, the first letter of the first word is a gimel, and it does that for 22.
Right.
Suddenly there's a pattern materialized only in Hebrew. What if, like an acronym, you put these 8 words together so that you read just the first word of each verse as a sentence? What you end up with is an 8-word sentence, and every word starts with an aleph. And then an 8-word sentence, every word starts with a bet. That's pretty simple. That's pretty easy. What you end up with here is Ashri, Ashri, Af Ata, Akli Az Odeka, Et Hokika. What if that was a sentence that David hid? Now he's a poet. He's playing with words and letters. And he just sits there and he writes a sentence, a verse, as it were, with 8 words. 8 is a fence. So here, in this fence, there's an 8-word sentence, and every word has to start with an aleph. Now that's the puzzle as a poet.
Yeah,
Huh?
New beginning.
8 is new beginnings.
8 can mean new beginning. And 8 is an enclosure. And where did he hide it? In the enclosure. Okay, so if you read SWAT, Special Weapons and Tactics, oh, haha, that was pretty simple. Okay. Ashri, who would be praised? Now the word asher means who, that which, praised, blessed. It's the word for straight, like yeshar. Yod Shin Resh and Aleph Shin Resh means straight. Yeshar El, Israel, literally means the straight one of Elohim. Or Elohim's, like an arrow, straight arrow, okay? So Asher means validate, authenticate, confirm, corroborate. It's like anybody that really, Ashri, who really wants to be blessed will be validated on this straight path, or will corroborate these matters as being true. Okay, now all these are concepts related to the word Ashri. Okay? And he says it twice. So there's this kind of code of the Bible that when he says something twice, it's Yahweh speaking.
Right.
And he's saying, pay attention. So,
Thought you were driving through the war.
picture somebody going out and said, anybody want to get blessed? Would anybody like to accomplish your life as being praiseworthy,
Can I raise
worthy
my
of
hands?
honor? And he's like declaring this as, hello! David is now calling out, as it were, to all the generations after him. Is this what you guys are looking for? Let me show you. Okay, that's Ashri, Ashri. Off is nose. Nose. But it's also anger. Why would nose be anger? Now remember, this is a mystery hidden in plain sight.
Because in Hebrew, the flaring of the nostrils is signifying anger. The nose.
What is that? Okay, but why would he say nose? Now here, this is the benefit of the Red Dictionary. If you put other prefixes in front of the word, you'll find other tenses of the use of it. If you write yod aleph pei, it means to characterize. So if I was drawing, we could be done with this.
Yeah, I'm done.
We got pictures.
We got pictures. Now, when we were little kids, we have this little game thing to keep us busy in the car, type of a thing on a trip, where you draw the eyes and the mouth, and this is.
Need another one, or does it just need clean that bad?
Yeah, I think it needs to be clean.
Well, here.
Let me
Okay,
see for another pen.
here's.
I got lots more black.
Okay.
That might work better.
Okay, so here's the face, you got the eyes and the mouth. But if you want to give this guy a certain character to distinguish him from this guy, he's going to have this nose and he's going to have this nose. It's a whole different character just because of the nose. So something about the nose has to do with the character. Now,
Now,
I don't know here.
Oh,
There was this fellow up in Calgary the other day, and he's a biker, and he says, if you're riding your motorcycle and you see gravel, if you look at the gravel, you're going to hit the gravel and fall. So what you want to do is turn your nose and look at the right place in the road where there's no gravel, where you're going to get out of it. And you're going to go where you look, where you turn your nose and where you go. So your nose is almost like a rudder.
Yeah, like a ship.
what does it say? They say, follow your nose.
So what is it about a nose which is like a rudder? So if we simply read off, well, that's anger. Now let's look back at this second, or it's actually the third verse. In English it says, they have also done no iniquity. Wait a minute.
Third verse? Oh, yeah, okay.
Where's the nose? Ashri, Ashri, off. They have also done no iniquity. What does that mean? See, already, if I look at the Red Dictionary, it gives me an understanding. If I look at this and try to appropriate it as an interlinear, I'm gone. So here, where's your interlinear? You had one around here, right?
Right here.
Oh, okay. What does it say for off? What does it tell you it means?
Well, in the English, a lot of this is very different.
Where are you? No, verse 3.
Verse 3 now?
Right here.
They also they do not work evil. Okay, where's verse 3 here? Off.
There's evil.
It means also.
Angry.
They say that aleph pei simply means
Also
also. Gosh. Let me get my dictionary here.
You want the faces?
No, you can erase this. I'm trying to show you, again, if we elaborate just this first section, it'll set up the mechanism for determining the mystery for the entire chapter. So just to dwell on this for a moment, and I'm trying to show you the incredible benefit of this Red Dictionary, because that interlinear is keyed to Strong's.
Yeah.
So if you look at Strong's, then where do they get also? Gimel mem means also, or heaped up. Here it means also. But it means knows anger also or to. And it's related to the Arabic word then or therefore. Okay, think about that. Then or therefore. Now, if you turn the page and you got aleph pei yod nun, it means to characterize. That means I have to know that yod nun or vav nun is somebody engaged in the action. Okay, I have to know a little bit about the way Hebrew is structured. So somebody doing something about a nose, somebody who's following their nose. Why does that mean to characterize? If I look at aleph pei yod, it means epic, because the pei is a P sound and aleph is an E sound, and then you got the I, so epi, well, epic. So now we see that the word epic simply comes from the Hebrew word epi, or epi-like, or character. So what does epic mean? How would you define the word epic? That was an epic
A huge
story.
thing, yeah. That's
It
very
was-
significant.
Something of great significance. What's the nose? Something of great significance. Okay, so now we have to put these things together in a way that you wouldn't necessarily do that, but to find the lowest common denominator between all these various definitions. What does nose have to do with anger, have to do with characterize, have to do with epic? Nasal is also aleph pei yod. Aleph pei yod as a prefix means on, beside, among, above, or anterior. Aleph pei or aleph vav pei yod means character or nature. Character or nature. The epic or the epitome. Epitome, you might even say, is to say the essence and substance that denotes a certain epic, right? Or the era, you might say, of like the dinosaurs, or the era of the medieval ages, or the era of the Industrial Revolution. So you might almost say that there's something epic or saga worthy, right? It's worth telling a story because of the nature and character of that era. Okay? So what I'm trying to show you is this is how you have to sefer simply the letters aleph and pei. Aleph means I will, and pei is a mouth. What's that got to do with the nose? I will mouth. I will characterize with my mouth. I will speak the character that I determined to have, because aleph means I am or I will, so that's an expression of my determination. So if you have an aleph, like yoking up an ox, you say, I'm going to plow this field. Come on, Bessie. And you yoke up the ox and you go to pull. Or you say, I'm going to hit that target. So you get out your bow and your arrow and you pull back and you aim. That's the aleph. I will. Now there's a correlation between nose and mouth. What I speak is my nose. The words of my mouth are going to orient me to be like that arrow in that direction. Aleph pei. And so now I'm going to be characterized as the way you describe an epic. Ashri Ashri af atah. Now the word atah, aleph tav hey, simply is translated you. Just you. Who's you? Anybody out there want to get blessed? You be characterized as what? The you is spelled aleph tav hey. Hey is to express or reveal. Aleph tav is aleph tav, which is the word of the alphabet, which is the, if we go back to this code in the alphabet, the aleph tav is not just, oh, that's Jesus. So if you, this is one problem I have with Bill Sanford's work, is he almost doesn't seem to get it. In the sense that I get it, which is to say, oh, aleph tav, Yeshua claimed to be the aleph tav, so that means everywhere you see aleph tav, that's referring to Yeshua. No, wait a second. Last night we were talking about when Yeshua says, I'm the door, who's speaking? The aleph tav is speaking, not the man. One reason we were up till 6 o'clock in the morning here.
Yeah.
The man, Jesus, Yeshua, the human, is a puppet. Aleph tav is the hand inside the puppet talking through the man. So when he says, I am the door, nobody comes to the Father but through me, who's speaking? Not the human, the aleph tav is speaking.
But why wouldn't he say he instead of I?
Because it's the aleph tav speaking. The aleph tav is speaking. What's the aleph tav? If these 22 letters are the aleph tav, and Abba made the aleph tav, the 22 letters, as the first word of John 1:1, through which everything else is made, and then the aleph tav, because it's this transmogrifying device, it jumps into itself and becomes manifest material human also, and then rises to the top epitome of all creation, which is a human being, which is then the human of humans, which is Yeshua, and then he says, I am the aleph and the tav, He's telling us, I am the Aleph and the Tav. I am this Et. I am. And he says, you should be one who expresses and is the expression of the revealing of Aleph Tav also. And if you want to be praiseworthy, you need to characterize Aleph Tav in the aiming of your nose and the speaking of your words. You need to be the expression of Aleph Tav, just like me. And see, it's possible, because I didn't come as God in the flesh. I came as a human to show you humans what your potential is in its
Exactly.
full epitome of reality. You need to be the expression of Aleph Tav, and you can, because that's the way you were designed.
Exactly. So that's
So
all-
there's no excuse. Huh?
That's exactly the goal of Psalm 119. This is what David saw. He realized the Aleph Tav, and it was all about becoming the Aleph
Which is
Tav.
why he then wanted to study the commandments, because
Sure.
he realized this is how you characterize Aleph Tav. You study the commandments and you do them. It's as simple as that. So these commandments are not just don't kill, don't steal, don't light a fire on Shabbat. It's like, no. There's something about conducting ourselves according to this Aleph Tav which makes us become
But
the Aleph Tav expressed.
Yeah, the expression is a presence. That's the word that comes to me.
Sure.
When we finally do it right.
We become the Aleph Tav characterized through this flesh body, the same way that the man Yeshua is the Aleph Tav expressed through that flesh body. But it's not about the flesh body.
Yeah.
Okay. You were about to say something else.
yeah, what if, because the way I see it, it's really about this, because you see in the Hebrew roots and all that, it's doer. They do, and they feel great about doing Shabbat and all that. But if the other side, it's all about like the, I love Jesus, I love, it's just, there's no substance. So if we connect the both together, because you say it's about doing it, but no, it's really my heart has to connect with my brain. It has to connect. So I cherish, like Frank Seekins talks so much about honor. So as I cherish the
About
word
honor?
honor,
Honor.
to honor.
Okay.
So if I cherish the word, I honor Papa, then I cherish it. So this is how I become and I do. So if we do just do, it doesn't work. Look at the Messianic movement. It's not pretty. So the heart is not there. So it's all about cherishing, which is faith, which is embracing. And so I become, what if my DNA, and I'm sure it is, it's all Aleph Tav aligned, but yours is different than mine. Though it's going to be Aleph Tav. It's
Right.
going to be like Yeshua. He was this DNA, but it was the sound of the Aleph Tav, well organized. My body manifests that I still have lies in my DNA because I'm aging. Some sickness can get there. So that's the proof I have false notes. I have other voices.
It's not pure Aleph Tav being expressed.
Exactly, but as I go through, why am I on earth? Why am I privileged to live longer? I believe it's that as we go along the way, doing what we're doing, life, I choose on a daily basis to embrace the truth and not the lies, so I become more and more the incarnated Aleph Tav like Yeshua was.
Right.
And I think this is what David was seeing in the letter. He saw it's life, it's vibration, it's not only paper and it's not only action, it's really about becoming it.
Right. And then,
Yeah.
so if you go back, because remember, we're only halfway through the letters. Ashri, Ashri, Afa, Tav. We're only at 4, and there's got to be 8. Okay? So at this point, though, David sees something. David gets it, but Aleph Pei is I will mouth. So there's something about his mouth which is tied to what you're saying. It's not just the heart, it's not just behavior, but it's not just the mouth, because there's something about I have to, what's the mouth about? Speaking. It's about words. It's about frequency and vibrations and alignment, because I will mouth is also nose, which is also character. So somehow I've got to now speak these words and do these things, because as he said, my ways have to be firmly guided to keep your statutes. That's the doing. So David is sensing or getting the picture of the connection that what he says, what he has a heart for, what the commandments say, and then him keeping the commandments are all tied together, and that if he does so, something climactic or the epitome will happen. So Yeshua, in order to be Mashiach, had to be the full expression of each one of these things. Only the words he hears the Father saying, doing what he sees the Father doing, walking, teaching, being with a heart, all has to be pinnacle of form, absolute fullest potential of this Aleph Tav manifest as a human, and that's who he is.
Right.
So he is these 22 letters working, complementing each other in absolutely perfect unison. One voice without any discrepancy, as you say, no false notes.
Yeah, exactly.
So when you see that's who Yeshua is, it's like, David saw Yeshua.
Okay.
Did he see him the man? He certainly saw him as the potential of all of us as
Exactly.
humans.
And you know
He
how
can-
caught this
that-
vision.
How basic that is? Brad Scott, years ago, was talking about the DNA, the double helix.
Mhm.
Well, it's put together by the Aleph Tav all the way up and down.
Sure is.
That's what the regeneration
Can I-
is.
Pardon?
That's regeneration.
It is. Can I plug in this scripture? It says, and they overcame him, connecting to the pay. Okay, we're looking for the pay. So, and they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb, by the word of their testimony, and by they loved not their lives unto the death. So I'm dying to my ego. I'm testifying. My words is living Aleph Tav. I confess the word. I live and the blood, of course, which
The blood somehow. Now, we go back yesterday to what was the purpose of the crucifixion?
Yeah.
Something about, if we just say he died so all men are set free, it's like that's true, but it's kind of trite. Well, he died to forgive us our sins. Okay. What did the blood do? The blood did something both legally and functionally to get us back into the ability to do this.
True.
Because of all the false notes, we're like just spun out, crashed and burned, and something about the blood has recovered our options to re-engage the game. Because otherwise we're fouled out sitting in the penalty booth.
Say that again.
Something about the blood has paid the penalty, so instead of us sitting in the penalty booth, fouled out, ruined for the rest of the game, he's paid the penalty and allowed us to get back into the game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Something about that crucifixion event has allowed us to stay engaged in the game. But it didn't say, you already win, you don't have to do anything. It's like, no, be in the game. What's the game? Just what you guys are referring to, expressing Aleph Tav. Something about the mouth expressing the character of Yahweh's nose is the Aleph. I will, I am. Aleph. Well, that's his nose. I will pay, speak. Aleph Tav revealed. Who are you? You are somebody who's supposed to reveal Aleph Tav in what you speak. Okay, now, if we go into the next word, Achli. Ashri, Ashri, Af, Atah, Achli. Okay? Aleph, Het, huh?
That's number 5.
Yeah. Aleph, Het, Lamed, Yod.
Yep.
So, now Aleph quite often is a prefix. So if we look in the dictionary, we want to look at two different places. We want to look at Het, Lamed, Yod, and then we want to look at Aleph, Het, Lamed, Yod. Okay, so
we start with Aleph from it, right?
sure, you want to look at Aleph, Het, Lamed, Yod, and I'll look at Het, Lamed, Yod. Because, like I said, Aleph is a common prefix, so just because the word Achli is here, I don't know if it's a prefix or not. So to do diligence with looking this up, I have to do both. Now, if I really want to do Sefer a little bit more thoroughly, I'd drop the Aleph and put other prefixes in front of it. So I'd add a Nun, perhaps a Bet, but Nun is a very common one, Hey is a common one, and Tav is a common one. Less common, but still very useful, is Mem or Sheen. Because mem means this is the instrument or the tool or the place, and sheen means that which belongs to, if sheen is used as a prefix.
Olive, hat, what?
Chet lamed yod. So here this says, Under-
his wish.
huh? What is it?
To wish.
To wish. Think about that. Aleph, het, lamed, yod means to wish.
Oh, that.
Oh, that. Now, if you say, oh, that we could have ice cream today, you're wishing for ice cream. Oh, that we could go to the beach. You're expressing, man, I'd really like to do that. Here, het, lamed, yod means illness, sickness, or disease.
Oh, this disease.
But it also means ornament or jewelry. Now I'm trying to show you the great use of this dictionary. It says it comes from het lamed hey, but I'm just looking at het lamed yod. So now I got to go back and look at het lamed hey. It means to be sweet or present, sweet or pleasant. It's challah, like challah bread, the braided sweet bread of the Shabbat, of the festivals, right? But it also means to be weak, sick, or ill. Now, this is one thing I've found in Hebrew, is that quite often, this is a perfect example, that one thing also means its direct opposite. The word Pesach means to leap or jump, like to jump over the threshold, but it also means to be lame, which means you can't jump. So Pesach doesn't necessarily mean to jump. It's the concept of jumping. Jumping, which means you either are jumping or not jumping. Because jumping is the theme. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the way Hebrew works. If I can find it with challah and I can find it with Pesach, it's a clue that that's the way the structure of the entire language works. So if I'm looking at Gimel and I say, well, Gimel means camel, what does a camel do? Well, it transports. It goes back and forth like a boomerang. Okay, that's something about Gimel. So Gimel is not just camel, it's transport. It's also back and forth. It's also picking up something and carrying it.
Raising it, yeah.
It's the camel getting up onto its feet and raising his head so he can start walking. All those things are Gimel. But if somebody says Gimel means camel, that's like somebody saying, when you say house, what is it? And so, here,
Can we take a time out? For
there's a
potty
house.
break?
Huh?
Can we take a time out for a potty break?
No, we're right in the middle of this. I gotta.
Well, I mean, Brady just did.
Okay, I'm gonna keep talking, and you're just gonna have to miss it. So het lamed. All right.
I'm recording it on my phone.
Oh, are you? Okay, well then, we gotta go back to where we're at.
Yeah, over in that bag.